The stars were quiet that night in deep space. A lone human warship drifted through the darkness, scanning for enemies. The crew was tired, but alert, for the war had been long and bloody. Then the radar officer shouted, "Unidentified ship detected, damaged, near asteroid belt." The captain ordered the ship to move closer. Through the viewing screen, they saw a large alien vessel, its hull broken and glowing from fire. It was a warship from the enemy race, feared across the galaxy. Smoke and sparks floated out into the void, proof that the battle had already torn it apart. Human soldiers prepared their weapons. They boarded the crippled ship with armored suits and rifles ready. Inside the corridors, silence ruled. Only the sound of broken machines and dripping fuel echoed. Bodies of alien soldiers lay scattered, but one chamber still glowed with life signs. In the central chamber, they found her. A tall alien female, her skin pale silver, her eyes glowing like blue fire. She wore the uniform of a commander, but her body was wounded. Even so, she stood proud, leaning against a wall, refusing to fall. The soldiers aimed their rifles. She looked at them, her breathing heavy, her lips trembling with weakness, and then she spoke words no one expected. "Show mercy, human. My body will give you powerful offspring." The soldiers froze, confused and afraid. Never before had an alien prisoner begged in this way. Some laughed nervously, thinking it was a trick. Others felt a strange fear, because her voice was both strong and desperate. The captain stepped forward. He studied her face, searching for lies. The alien commander met his eyes without shame. Her gaze carried pride, but also something deeper, a plea for survival. "Take me," she whispered again, "and I will give you strength your kind has never known." The chamber fell silent, the crew waiting for the captain's answer. For years, humans and her people had slaughtered each other, and yet here stood their enemy, asking not for death, but for mercy. The captain ordered the soldiers to bind her carefully. They placed heavy restraints on her arms and legs. Still, she did not resist. She walked with them, her head held high, as if she were not a prisoner but a guest. Back on the human ship, whispers spread quickly. The crew gathered in corners, talking about the strange captive. Some said she was dangerous and must be executed. Others believed her words might hold the key to winning the war. The alien was locked inside a secure chamber. Guards watched her every move, rifles ready, fingers tight on triggers. But she sat calmly, her glowing eyes following every soldier. Her presence filled the air with tension, heavy like thunder before a storm. The captain stood outside her cell, thinking deeply. Was she truly offering peace, or was this another alien trick? He remembered her words again. "Show mercy, human. My body will give you powerful offspring." The meaning of those words burned in his mind, strange and dangerous. Outside the ship's window, the stars continued their endless watch. The war was still raging across the galaxy, but in that single prison cell, a new kind of battle had begun, a battle not of weapons, but of trust, fear, and secrets yet to be revealed. The cell was quiet, only the hum of the ship's engines filled the silence. Inside sat the alien commander, chained but calm, her silver skin glowing faintly under the cold lights. She had not spoken since the moment of her capture, yet the memory of her strange words haunted every human who had heard them. The young officer, Lieutenant Mark, stood watch at the door. He tried not to stare, but her glowing blue eyes never left him. At last, she tilted her head and broke the silence. "You fear me," she said softly, "but you need me more than you know." Mark tightened his grip on his rifle. "Be quiet," he muttered, though his voice lacked strength. The alien smiled faintly, her expression unreadable. "Your people fight like fire," she whispered, "but fire cannot last forever without fuel." Later, the captain entered the chamber. He dismissed the guards and stood face to face with the prisoner. "Speak," he said firmly. "What did you mean by your words? Why beg for mercy when your kind kills us without hesitation?" Her gaze locked on his, unblinking, calm, almost daring. "My people," she began, her voice low and steady, "are strong, but our strength has a cost." She placed a hand over her chest, the chains clinking. "We burn our lives too quickly. Our bloodlines grow weaker with each generation." She leaned forward, her voice sharper now. "But you, human, your kind is different, adaptable, fertile, dangerous in ways we cannot be." The captain frowned. "You expect me to believe you want humans to join with your kind?" Her smile widened, though it carried no joy. "Not want," she said, "need. If our blood mixes, our children will be stronger than both our species. A future where we rule together, or perish apart. The words sent a chill through the captain, to think their greatest enemy now begged for alliance, not with treaties, but with blood. Still, a doubt gnawed at him. How do I know this is not a trick, another weapon of war? The alien's eyes flashed brighter. If I wished to kill you, I would not be here in chains, she answered coldly. My body could have released poison in your air. My voice could have called hidden fleets, yet I sit here waiting for you to understand. Her tone softened, almost fragile. Because my people will not forgive me for being captured. They will hunt me, and when they come, they will burn your worlds to ash. The captain's heart pounded. He could not show weakness, yet her words carried weight. If she spoke the truth, then humanity faced not just a war, but extinction. And if she lied, trusting her could doom them all. Mark interrupted nervously from the door. Captain, she saved me once on her ship. She could have killed me, but she didn't. The alien looked at him, her gaze strangely gentle. Because even an enemy can carry the spark of tomorrow, she said, almost like a riddle. The captain ordered more guards and left the chamber, but the words followed him through the corridors like a shadow. Her voice echoing in his mind, whispering of children stronger than human or alien, whispering of a future that could change the war forever. In the command room, officers argued. Some demanded her execution, calling her a liar. Others believed she might be the key to ending the war. The captain listened, silent, as the debate grew louder. At last, he raised his hand. We will not kill her yet, he said slowly. We will learn the truth of her words. The crew fell silent, fear and hope mixing in their eyes. For in that moment, the fate of humanity began to shift, guided by the secret of a single alien prisoner. The human warship cut through the endless dark. Inside, the crew moved with unease, whispering when they thought no one was listening. The alien commander, still chained in her secure cell, had planted a seed of doubt in every mind. Her words lingered like smoke, heavy and impossible to ignore. Lieutenant Mark patrolled the lower decks. He could hear the crew talking in hushed voices. She knows something, one engineer muttered. Maybe she can save us. Another voice hissed back. Or maybe she's tricking us, waiting for her people to strike. Mark kept walking, his boots echoing on the metal floor. The fear was spreading, not just of the alien, but of the future. Every crew member knew the war was going badly, and now their prisoner claimed to hold knowledge that could change everything. That night, the captain entered the chamber once more. He stood before the alien commander, his eyes sharp, his voice firm. You spoke of children, of bloodlines, but now you will speak of war. Her blue eyes glowed faintly, and for the first time she smiled. My fleet is coming, she said calmly, but not in the way you expect. The captain's fists tightened. Speak clearly, he ordered. What do you mean? She leaned forward, her chains rattling, her voice a whisper full of danger. Your admirals believe they are hunting us, she said. But it is my people who have been hunting you. She tilted her head, her gaze piercing. Right now, your fleet sails into a trap, one they cannot escape without me. The words struck the captain like a blade. He wanted to dismiss her, to call it another lie, but deep inside, he felt the chill of truth. For weeks, reports had been scattered, strange signals lost in the void, ships vanishing without explanation. Mark stepped closer, his voice shaky. Captain, what if she's right? What if we're heading straight into it? The alien turned her gaze on him, almost soft, almost human. Even your youngest officer can see what you cannot, she said. Listen before it is too late. The captain's jaw tightened. If you are lying, you will not live to see another sunrise, he warned. Her smile returned, sharp as broken glass. Then kill me now, she said, but your fleet will burn without my voice to guide you. Hours later, in the mess hall, the whispers grew louder. Some crew members said she should be trusted. Others swore she was a snake, poisoning their minds. One mechanic slammed his fist on the table, shouting, better to risk death than to trust an alien. But another soldier whispered back, and what if she's the only way we survive? The division cut deeper, tension rising. Some men began to gather in secret, speaking of rebellion if the captain made the wrong choice. The ship was becoming a cage filled with sparks, ready to explode. In her cell, the alien listened to the echoes through the walls. Her hearing was sharp, far sharper than any human's. She smiled to herself, whispering words no guard could understand. Words in her own language, words that sounded like prayers or promises. The captain stood in the command room, staring at the star maps. If the alien spoke the truth, his fleet was already walking into the jaws of death. But to trust her meant risking the lives of his entire crew. He closed his eyes, hearing again her first words. "Show mercy, human. My body will give you powerful offspring." Now she offered not just strange promises but warnings of war, and every choice pressed upon him like a weight too heavy to bear. The whispers of rebellion in his own ship grew louder, and he knew the next decision would decide not only his crew's loyalty, but the fate of humanity itself. The warship drifted in silence, but inside, silence did not mean peace. The crew was restless, divided, their trust in each other weakening with every passing hour. Some believed the aliens' warnings, others demanded her death, and hidden among them, a darker shadow moved, waiting for the right moment. The captain walked the main corridor, his mind heavy. Every whisper reached his ears. Every glance of doubt cut deeper than a blade. He wanted loyalty, but instead he felt the air shaking with fear. The aliens' words had turned his ship into a battlefield without a single shot fired. In the engineering bay, Lieutenant Mark checked the reactor levels. He was young but sharp, and he noticed something strange. The readings flickered unnaturally, as if someone had tampered with the system. His stomach tightened, for this was not an accident, it was sabotage. Before he could call it in, a shadow stepped from behind the pipes, a fellow crewman, face cold, eyes burning with anger. "You should have kept quiet," the traitor hissed, knife in hand. Mark barely blocked the strike, the blade slicing across his arm. They struggled in the narrow space, metal clanging, breath sharp with panic. The traitor whispered furiously, "The alien is poison, the captain is weak, we must take control before she destroys us." Mark realized with horror, this was not one man's madness, this was rebellion, already blooming inside the crew. With desperate strength, Mark shoved the traitor back and slammed the emergency alarm. The sound wailed through the ship, red lights flashing across every corridor, guards rushed in, weapons raised, but by then, the traitor had vanished into the chaos, leaving only blood and broken steel behind. The captain stormed into the bay, his face like stone. Mark clutched his wounded arm, panting. "Sabotage, sir. There's a traitor on board." The words chilled the room. Because the enemy was no longer just out there in the stars, the enemy was among them, breathing their air, wearing their uniform. In her cell, the alien commander listened as the alarms echoed. When the captain entered, she looked up with sharp eyes. "Your people break faster than I expected," she said softly, almost mocking. But then her voice turned serious. "I warned you, human. Your war is not only outside, it is inside your walls." The captain glared, refusing to show weakness. "You think this pleases me," he growled. "You think rebellion will make me beg for your help." But the alien shook her head slowly. "It pleases me not, but it proves me right. Your kind burns with fire, but fire consumes itself if not controlled." Moments later, the ship shook violently. An explosion rocked the lower decks, flames spilling through the corridors, screams echoed as soldiers scrambled to put out the blaze. The sabotage had succeeded. Even after the alarm, Mark and the damaged teams fought desperately, sealing the breach. But everyone knew the truth now. Someone aboard wanted the captain gone, and worse, they wanted the alien dead before her words could root any deeper. Blood and betrayal had split the crew, and trust was no longer certain. The captain stood before the viewing window, watching the stars. His reflection showed a man torn between duty and doubt. Behind him, the alien's voice carried softly through the chamber wall. "Your own kind betrays you, human. Yet I remain here, chained, and I saved one of your soldiers from death." Her words cut deeper than the rebellion itself, because part of him wondered, was the alien truly an enemy? Or was she the only ally left who had not betrayed him? And as the fires burned low in the damaged decks, the captain realized the war outside was nothing compared to the war now raging within. The fires in the lower decks were finally under control, but the damage to trust was far worse than the damage to steel. The crew moved through the ship with tense eyes, watching not only the shadows but also each other. The traitor was still hidden, and no one knew when he would strike again. The captain, however, faced another decision. He stood in the medical wing, watching scientists prepare their instruments. The alien commander sat on a steel bed, her chains still heavy, her glowing eyes calm. She did not resist. She almost seemed to welcome what was coming. Dr. Harlan, the ship's chief scientist, looked uneasy. "Captain, are you sure about this?" he asked. "Testing her blood is dangerous. If she carries toxins, it could kill us." The captain's voice was steady, though his heart was not. "We have to know the truth. If she lied about her offer, then we will end this now." The alien tilted her head, her silver skin shining under the lights. "You fear knowledge," she said softly. "Yet knowledge is the only weapon that saves you." Her words unsettled the crew, but the captain nodded to the doctor. "Begin the test," he ordered. A needle pierced her arm, her blood glowing faintly blue as it filled the vial. The scientists worked quickly, machines humming, screens lighting up with strange symbols. Mark watched nervously from the corner, his arm still bandaged from the traitor's attack. The alien glanced at him once, her gaze strangely warm, as if she remembered saving his life. Minutes stretched into hours. The scientists whispered to each other, their voices tense. At last, Dr. Harlan looked up, his face pale. "Captain, her claim was not a lie." The room fell silent. Her DNA was displayed on the screen, twisting strands of blue and white. Dr. Harlan pointed to sections glowing brighter. "She carries structures nearly identical to human biology, but re-advanced, more flexible, almost as if designed to merge with ours." The crew gasped, some in awe, others in horror. One soldier muttered, "This is not natural. This is unnatural." The alien's voice cut through the fear, sharp and steady. "Not unnatural, inevitable. The survival of both our species depends on this union." The captain's fists clenched. He wanted to deny it, to reject the thought. But the truth burned on the screen before his eyes, and deep inside, he feared she was right. Dr. Harlan continued, his voice shaking. "If we combined her DNA with ours, theoretically, the result could be stronger immune systems, faster healing, even increased intelligence." The captain turned sharply. "You mean her offspring with a human could surpass us?" Harlan nodded slowly. "Yes, Captain, stronger than either species alone." The words carried weight like iron. Every man in the room felt the shift, as if the future itself had changed direction. The alien leaned forward, her chains rattling. "You see now, human, I did not lie. Your future and mine are bound together, or both will vanish in fire." Her glowing eyes locked on the captain. "Release me, and I will show you how to use this power before it is too late." The captain turned away, staring out the viewport into the stars. Her words were heavy, her truth undeniable, but her loyalty still unproven. If he released her, and she betrayed them, humanity would fall. If he kept her locked, they might lose the only chance to survive. Behind him, whispers began again. Some crew begged to end her life now before she corrupted them further. Others whispered that she was the key, the answer to ending the war. And in the middle stood the captain, torn between science, fear, and the strange hope that this alien enemy might be humanity's last chance. The stars outside the viewport were calm, but calm was only the mask of space, hiding storms that no human eye could see. The captain stood in the command chamber, his hands resting on the table of glowing maps. Red dots marked human ships, green signals marked patrols. Yet among them, new shadows were appearing. A voice broke the silence. "Captain, incoming report from Scout Vessel Omega," the communications officer said, her face pale. The message appeared on the screen, crackling with static. "Enemy fleet, moving fast, course set toward Earth. Repeat, alien fleet, on direct path to Earth." The crew froze. Every heartbeat seemed louder than the engines. If the enemy truly marched toward Earth, then the heart of humanity was in danger, and the alien prisoner's warning was no longer just words. It was becoming real. Lieutenant Mark felt his throat tighten. He turned to the captain, whispering, "Sir, she knew. She told us this would happen." The captain's jaw clenched, his eyes dark with thought. He hated the truth, but he could no longer deny it. He ordered the alien brought to the strategy room. Guards marched her in, chains clinking against the steel floor. Even in restraints, her presence filled the room with tension. She looked at the red dots on the map, her blue eyes glowing brighter. "There," she said, pointing calmly at a cluster of signals. "Your fleet sails straight into their jaws. An ambush waits at these coordinates. Your admirals will not see it until it is too late." The captain slammed his hand on the table, his voice sharp. "How do you know this? Why tell me?" Her lips curved into the faintest smile. "Because if Earth burns, your kind is lost. And if your kind is lost, so is mine," she answered. Her voice carried no mockery now, only a strange honesty. "I offer you survival, human, not as enemy, but as the only ally you have left." The crew exchanged uneasy looks. Some believed her, their eyes wide with fear. Others muttered that she was manipulating them, guiding them into another trap. But the captain's mind raced faster than their whispers. Dr. Harlan stepped forward. "Captain, if her information is true, our fleet is walking into destruction," he said. The captain stared at the map, then at the alien. "If I release you and you betray us, Earth dies by your hand," he said coldly. The alien did not flinch. "Then release me," she said simply, "because without me, Earth dies anyway." Her words hung in the air like a blade, sharp and undeniable. The captain's heart battled his mind, torn between fear and survival. Outside the chamber, rumors spread through the ship like wildfire. Some crew prepared weapons, swearing they would never follow orders that trusted the alien. Others whispered of hope, saying she was their last chance. The ship was breaking apart from the inside, just as the galaxy threatened to break from the outside. The captain looked once more into her glowing eyes. He remembered her first words, words that had seemed insane when she spoke them. "Show mercy, human. My body will give you powerful offspring." Now those words twisted in his mind, not only about offspring, but about survival itself. Finally, he gave the order. "Double the guards, prepare the fleet, and keep her under watch," he said, his voice like iron. But in his heart he knew a greater choice was coming, a choice that no weapon or strategy could delay, for the enemy fleet was already moving, Earth was already in danger, and the fate of humanity might rest in the hands of the very prisoner they once called monster. The warship floated like a lone shadow in space. Inside, tension was heavier than steel. The alien commander had warned of the enemy fleet, and now every crew member wondered if her words were truth or poison. The captain paced the corridor outside her cell, torn between fear of betrayal and the need for survival. That night, alarms shattered the silence. Guards rushed through the halls as red lights flashed. "The prisoner! She's breaking out!" a soldier shouted. The captain's blood ran cold as he sprinted to the secure chamber. The door had been forced open. 2 guards lay stunned on the ground, not dead, but unconscious. Chains broken, the alien was gone, her path marked by sparks from disabled cameras. Her escape was precise, controlled, almost surgical. Lieutenant Mark led a team through the engineering bay. "Seal the hatches. Don't let her reach the hangar," he barked. They caught glimpses of her moving like a shadow, silver skin glimmering under flashing lights. Her speed was unnatural, her strength terrifying. At last, Mark cornered her near the airlock. He raised his rifle, hands shaking. "Stop! You'll never make it out alive," he shouted. She turned slowly, her glowing eyes calm, her voice soft. "If I wished to flee, you would not have found me," she said. Her chains, though broken, still hung loosely around her wrists like trophies. Mark frowned, confused. "Then why run?" She stepped closer, lowering her head. "Because I needed to test you, to test all of you." By then the captain arrived, gun drawn, his voice harsh. "You call this a test. You disable my guards, you tear through my ship, and you expect mercy." But the alien raised her hands, showing she carried no weapon. "I could have killed them, but I did not. I left them breathing, because I chose restraint." Her words struck deep. The crew lowered their weapons slightly, their fear battling with Out the alien's voice grew stronger, echoing in the corridor. "If I was your enemy, your ship would already be mine, but I stay because your war is now my war too." The captain's eyes narrowed. Why risk yourself for us?" he demanded. The alien looked at him, her expression sharp but tired. "Because my own people call me traitor now. They will not forgive capture. They will not forgive my mercy." The silence in the corridor grew heavy. The soldiers exchanged uneasy glances, some lowering rifles fully. Mark whispered. She had the chance to escape, but she stayed. The alien met his eyes, and for a moment, there was something almost human in her gaze. The captain holstered his weapon slowly. "If you betray us again, I will kill you myself," he warned. She nodded, accepting the words without flinch. "Then give me a place at your table, Captain, and I will lead you away from death." Later, in the strategy room, the alien stood with guards around her. She pointed at the maps again, marking paths the enemy fleet would take. Her fingers traced ambush points humans had overlooked. Her knowledge was terrifying, but her loyalty, for now, seemed real. The crew whispered in disbelief as they watched her work. An alien commander planning beside their own captain, some still cursed her as a liar. Others began to see her as something far more dangerous, a possible ally. Outside, the stars stretched cold and endless. The enemy fleet still moved toward Earth. But now, humanity's warship carried more than weapons. It carried a fragile alliance, born not from trust, but from a single choice. The choice not to kill when she could. And as the ship prepared for battle, every heart knew the next test would not be inside their corridors. It would be out there in the void, where fire and betrayal would decide if this alliance lived or died. The warship glided toward the dark edges of the sector. Inside, the crew prepared for battle, their hands shaking as they loaded weapons and checked systems. Whispers still followed the alien commander wherever she walked. Some called her ally, others still hissed traitor, yet all eyes watched her closely. The captain stood in the strategy room. The star map glowed before him, enemy signals gathering like a storm. The alien pointed to a cluster of red dots, her voice sharp. "Strike here, before they close around you, otherwise your fleet is finished." An officer slammed his fist on the table. "We cannot trust her, Captain. She wants us to fight where she chooses. She wants to guide us into her own trap." The alien's blue eyes flared like burning stars. "If I wanted you destroyed, I would not stand here chained among you," she said coldly. The tension nearly snapped, but the captain raised his hand, silencing the room. His voice was steady but heavy. "We have no choice. If we ignore her and she is right, Earth will burn. If we follow her and she lies, we burn here." The decision was made. The warship aligned with the fleet, engines roaring as they moved into the black. The enemy signals grew stronger, filling the void like wolves circling prey. Every soldier strapped into their stations, hearts pounding in their chests. Then it began. Alien warships tore out of the void, their weapons blazing. Bolts of green fire ripped across the darkness, shaking human shields. The void itself seemed to scream as the battle erupted. The captain shouted orders. "Shields to full, return fire, hold formation." The ship answered with thunder, cannons blazing, missiles streaking into the black. The void filled with light, a storm of fire and steel. Through the chaos, the alien commander moved like she belonged there. Her eyes scanned the enemy formations, her voice sharp as a blade. Turn here, cut through their flank, their wings are weak," she cried. The crew hesitated, then obeyed, and the enemy line cracked just as she had predicted. Gasps filled the command deck. For the first time, they realized her words were saving them, not damning them. The ship pushed forward, breaking the enemy circle, but new signals flared, reinforcements dropping from hyperspace like shadows. Lieutenant Mark braced himself as explosions rocked the hull. He turned to the alien, shouting over the alarms. "Why help us? Why risk everything for humans?" Her glowing eyes flicked to him, her face fierce. "Because my people no longer see me as theirs," she said. "They call me traitor. They will kill me as quickly as you, but if I fight beside you, I earn a future for both." Her words cut through the chaos, sharp and desperate. And for a brief moment, Mark believed her fully. Outside, the void was fire and death. Ships burned, metal twisted, screams filled the comms. The human fleet fought with everything they had, but the enemy pressed harder, relentless, merciless. The captain looked at the alien. Her chains rattled as she leaned over the map, shouting directions. "Strike here, Captain. One more push, and you will shatter their spine." His heart raged with doubt, but his mind saw the truth in her tactics. With a roar, he gave the order. The warship surged forward, leading the charge. Human cannons ripped through the enemy formation, tearing their center apart. The void burned brighter than a sun as ships exploded, flames scattering across the dark. But the battle was not yet won. The enemy screamed over comms, calling her name in their tongue. "Traitor, betrayer, you will die with them," the voices hissed. And the crew realized the enemy's rage was not only for humans, but for her. Their own commander turned against them. The war raged on. Fire lit the endless night. And in that moment, the humans knew the truth. Their survival now depended not only on steel and courage, but on the loyalty of the alien they once called prisoner. The battle outside was fire and thunder. Human and alien ships clashed in the void, filling space with burning wreckage. Inside the warship, alarms screamed, crew shouted, and every heartbeat carried the weight of survival. But unseen by many, another danger crept in the shadows, closer than the enemy fleet. The traitor moved with purpose. His face was calm, but his hands shook with rage as he carried the small black device. It was no ordinary tool. It was a detonator linked to explosives hidden in the reactor bay. One push, and the warship would split apart, leaving nothing but dust in the stars. He slipped past soldiers too busy with battle. His whispers echoed in his mind. "The captain is blind. The alien is poison. Better to die free than live under her lies." The traitor believed he was saving humanity, but his path was betrayal, a knife aimed at his own people's hearts. Meanwhile, in the command room, the alien commander leaned over the maps. Her glowing eyes tracked enemy movements with sharp precision. "Shift formation left, cut their wings before they close," she commanded. The captain obeyed, and the enemy faltered once more. Lieutenant Mark rushed to her side, sweat dripping from his brow. "She's right again, Captain. Without her, we'd already be gone," he said. The crew hesitated, still torn between trust and fear, but every order she gave carved survival from certain death. Then the ship shook violently, not from enemy fire, but from deep inside the hull. "Explosion detected in the reactor bay," the engineer cried. The captain's blood froze. This was sabotage, not battle damage. Mark sprinted toward the lower decks. His boots pounded the floor as smoke and alarms filled the air. He turned a corner and saw him. The traitor, crouched near the reactor controls. The black detonator glowed in his trembling hands. "Stop!" Mark shouted, raising his rifle. "Oh!" The traitor spun, eyes wild, his voice broken with fury. "You don't see it. She's killing us. She's twisting our minds. I'll end this now before she takes everything." His thumb hovered over the switch, death only a breath away. Before Mark could fire, a shadow moved between them. The alien commander, her chains still dragging, lunged into the reactor bay. Her glowing eyes blazed with fury as she slammed the traitor back against the wall. The detonator clattered across the floor, spinning out of his reach. The traitor screamed, spitting words of hate. "You betrayed your own kind, and now you betray mine," he shouted. She pressed him down with strength beyond human. Her voice was cold, sharp. "You call this loyalty, but you are the true traitor, willing to kill your people for fear." Mark grabbed the detonator, his hands shaking. He crushed it under his boot, sparks scattering like dying stars. The threat was ended, but the betrayal cut deep. The crew above still fought the enemy, unaware they had nearly died by one of their own. The captain arrived moments later, his eyes burning with rage. He looked at the traitor bound on the floor, then at the alien standing over him. She had saved them again, risking herself, risking everything. And for the first time, the captain's heart softened, though his voice stayed firm. "You had every chance to escape," he said to her. "You could have left us to die, yet you chose to fight beside us." The alien's gaze met his, fierce but steady. "I do not fight for you," she whispered. "I fight for the future that must be born, one where neither of us burns." The captain gave the order to lock the traitor in chains, but in his heart he knew this betrayal was more dangerous than enemy fire, because trust among humans was breaking faster than their shields, and yet standing there, the alien seemed less like a prisoner, and more like the only one still holding them together. The traitor sat locked in chains, his eyes burned with silent hatred, but his voice no longer carried weight. The crew no longer listened to him. Their thoughts were now fixed on something far greater. The alien commander, once a prisoner, now stood at the edge of becoming something far more dangerous, an ally. The captain gathered the officers in the medical wing. Dr. Harlan displayed the alien's blood patterns on a glowing screen. Strange shapes pulsed across the strands of DNA. The crew stared in uneasy silence, for what they saw was both terrifying and fascinating. "This," Harlan said, pointing at the broken patterns, "is why her people grow weaker with each generation." The strands showed cracks, fading signals, entire sections collapsing on themselves. "It is decay," Harlan explained. "Their bloodline is dying, their strength burning out." The room felt colder with each word. The alien sat calmly listening. At last she spoke, her voice low and steady. "You see now, humans, my people are not eternal gods of war. We are a species in decline." She lifted her chained hands slightly, as if offering truth itself. "When I said my body could give you powerful offspring, I did not lie," she continued. "Our survival requires yours. If our blood mixes with yours, a new generation is born, stronger than me, stronger than you." Her glowing eyes swept across the crew. "Without this, my people will fade, and your people will fall to us until we collapse into dust." The captain's jaw tightened. He wanted to speak, but the words weighed too heavily. It was not just about survival anymore, it was about destiny. Humanity's fate was now tangled with the blood of their greatest enemy. Lieutenant Mark leaned forward, voice trembling. "You mean, without us, your kind dies, and without you we die too?" The alien nodded, her expression grim. "Yes, we are fire without fuel, and you are fuel without fire. Together we can burn brighter. Apart, we only vanish." The crew erupted in arguments. Some shouted that she was lying, that she wanted to breed monsters to conquer the galaxy. Others whispered that she might be right, that this could end the war forever. The chamber was filled with fear, hope, and anger, clashing louder than weapons. The captain silenced them with a raised hand. He turned to the alien, his eyes sharp. If this is true, then why now? Why tell us this secret when we have killed your people and you have killed mine? Her voice was softer now, carrying something close to sorrow. Because I have no choice, she said. My own fleet has marked me as traitor. They will not take me back. They will burn me first, and then burn Earth with me. She paused, her eyes glowing brighter with emotion. I reveal this to you not for love, not for trust, but because survival demands it. The captain stared into her eyes. He saw no lies there, only the weight of extinction. For the first time, he felt the truth not as words, but as certainty. If she was lying, humanity would fall, but if she spoke truth, then rejecting her would doom them both. Dr. Harlan cleared his throat, his voice quiet but firm. Captain, the data is clear. Her people are collapsing, but their DNA is compatible with ours in ways I cannot explain. This is not myth, this is science. The captain closed his eyes, breathing deeply. For the first time he realized that war might not end with weapons, but with blood. Outside the viewport, the stars burned cold and endless. The enemy fleet still advanced. The war still raged. But inside the warship, a revelation had changed everything. The enemy was no longer just a foe. They were the key to humanity's survival, and perhaps its rebirth. The warship floated in silence after the battle. Wreckage of alien and human ships drifted like broken bones across the stars. Inside, the crew tended to the wounded, patched the hull, and buried the dead. But though the battle was won, the war for humanity's future was still raging, not outside, but inside the heart of one man. The captain stood in the command chamber. The alien commander knelt before him, her silver skin bruised, her glowing eyes dim but unbroken. Around them, the crew gathered, every face filled with tension. Some wanted her executed, others whispered she had saved them more than once. She lifted her head slowly, her voice was soft but carried across the chamber. Now, human, you must decide. My mercy or my death will shape the future. The words cut through every soul like a blade. Lieutenant Mark stepped forward. She saved us, Captain, twice, maybe more. She risked herself to stop the traitor, and without her, we would all be dead now. A soldier shouted back, she's an enemy. She's only alive because she needs us. When her people return, she'll betray us again. The captain's eyes moved from one voice to another. The ship was divided, loyalty cracking like ice, and at the center was the alien, not fighting, not begging, but waiting. Her calmness was more frightening than any weapon. Dr. Harlan spoke next. Captain, the tests were clear. Her people are dying. Her words were not lies. He gestured to the glowing data on the screen. If we kill her, we kill the chance to save ourselves, and if we keep her, we take a risk that might cost us everything. The alien finally rose to her feet, though the chains clinked heavy around her wrists. She met the captain's gaze without fear. You think this choice is about me, she said, her voice sharper now. No, Captain, it is about whether humanity dares to shape a future larger than itself. Silence followed, heavy, suffocating. Every crew member watched the captain, waiting for his voice. Mark's eyes pleaded for mercy. The soldier's eyes demanded justice. The weight of humanity itself pressed on his shoulders. The captain stepped forward slowly. His hand hovered near his sidearm, the weapon that could end the question forever. The alien did not flinch, her glowing eyes unblinking. If you kill me, she whispered, my people will come for you. But even if they win, they will still die in time, and you will die with them. He closed his eyes, hearing her first words once again. Show mercy, human. My body will give you powerful offspring. What had sounded like madness now echoed as prophecy. Not just about blood, but about survival, unity, and a future neither species could claim alone. Finally, he lowered his hand, his voice carried like steel across the chamber. She lives, he declared. Gasps filled the room, some of anger, some of relief. She will not be prisoner, he continued, but she will not be free either. She will stand among us, fight beside us, and prove with every step that her words are true. The alien bowed her head slightly, the closest gesture to respect her kind had. You have chosen the harder path, human, she said softly, but it is the only one that leads forward. The crew's divisions did not vanish. Some still glared, others still whispered, but the captain had spoken, and his choice was now their fate. One alien, one ship, one chance for the survival of two species. Outside, the stars burned endless and cold. The war was not over. More battles would come, more blood would spill. But inside that warship, a decision had been made. A fragile alliance was born, carrying both hope and danger into the unknown future. And as the void stretched before them, the final choice became clear. Humanity's greatest enemy might also be its own law. A chance to survive, and the galaxy itself would one day remember the night when mercy shaped destiny.